Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering Tiger Woods finishing last at the Masters, the College Football Super League. We'll also be talking a little bit about UFC 300, and make sure you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into our daily horror story special. Before we start, though, I just wanted to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The link is GSMCPodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps the show.
Okay, before we even start, Faith.
Yes.
What was the name of that fourth segment again?
Dating horror stories.
To me, it sounded like you said Diddy horror stories. And I'm like, whoa! Now that's I don't know.
No, we won't be talking about that.
There will not be any Diddy horror stories going down.
No, we won't be talking about any of that.
I'm like, what did
y'all
you
want information on
find?
that? You look it up yourself.
I swear to you, I thought you said Diddy horror stories.
No.
And I was like, oh, no, you should have cleared that with me first.
No. Nothing of that nature.
That's a whole nother conversation there.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Your camera's down, so I can see the bottom of your thing now.
Oh, my microphone.
I see that little arm at the bottom,
Oh.
bottom corner. Yes.
Yeah.
So other than Diddy horror stories, how are you doing? How was your weekend? All that good stuff.
I'm good. I'm actually a little sunburnt.
I did notice.
I forgot to put sunscreen on before going to the UGA's spring football game. And so, yeah, I got a little sun on Saturday. So I'm still kind of recovering from that. It was actually much worse on Saturday, so it's more of a light pink today. But it was fun. I've never gone to a spring game. There's not that stress level, so it's nice because they're just playing each other. So
it was weird. I don't watch a lot of spring games, and you sent me pictures from the spring game, and it took me for a loop for a second. I was like, what the heck? Because I felt like I was back at the University of Akron. The stadium was half empty and everything. Yeah. And I'm like, boy, that's weird.
Yeah, that's probably the only time I will ever see Sanford Stadium not that packed. Like, I had never seen it. Because we could just sit anywhere, honestly. Like, it wasn't like they were really mandating where your tickets put you at. So, yeah.
That's, and I'm used to, I saw the spring game at Colorado last year when Coach Prime, his first year, was there, and the stadium was sold out. So I'm picturing it being, like I said, never really done the spring games for Georgia or anywhere else. So I was expecting there to be a packed stadium, and it was like no one there. I was like,
yeah.
Whoa, that's weird.
The friends that I went with, one of them, she went to a spring game, she said about 5 years ago, and she's like, there's actually more people than there was 5 years ago at that spring game. And so, yeah.
And also, for someone who has watched a lot of Georgia games, the stadium was so empty, I couldn't recognize the stadium. It was just, I was like, where's this at? That's you know what I mean? Because you're used to seeing it a certain way.
Yeah.
And you go to the Horseshoe at Ohio State, you don't picture it empty. So it was definitely bizarre to see a spring game at a major program, and it just wow, not that many. That's a home game at University of Akron, but
no, it's normally pretty packed. I guess just since it was a spring big game, not very many people came. Because I mean,
so what was your thoughts of the spring game in general?
I mean, it was fun. And it was, like, relaxing because you don't have to stress out about who's going to win because either way, you win, But I will say after a while, it was kind of boring because you didn't have really anything to, like look forward to or try to root for because it's, they're all just Georgia players. So, and actually at the end of the game, it was tied. The score was 20-20, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna go into overtime." But they
No,
didn't
there's no
do.
overtime.
Yeah, they
There's
didn't
no
do
overtime in
overtime.
spring
Well, I
games.
didn't know that. But there was no overtime. Thank goodness. Yeah. So I mean, it was fun to watch, but after a while, you're just kind of like, man, I kind of wish, we were actually playing someone other than Georgia.
See,
Maybe that
I
would have made
kind
it
of
more
think
fun to watch.
that's why I feel like I wish they would do like an inter scrimmage, like like they bring a team in
Yeah.
for a week and they practice with, like, the NFL will do this sometimes.
Mhm.
They'll have a team come in and they'll practice against each other and kind of have like a practice game
Mhm.
between, let's say, Georgia and Georgia Tech or something like that,
Yeah.
where they're practice together and everything for the week, and it ends with a spring game that's not really a real game, but a game that they scrimmage against each other. I
Mhm.
would love that. That's more of an eye-catching television event than the Georgia spring game or the Ohio State spring game,
Yeah.
Michigan. It's just not the same. No, with the exception of Colorado. Colorado last year's spring game was like worth seeing. But
Mhm.
yeah, most spring games are not
Yeah.
anything special. It's also weird because spring game, that's after the spring game and everything, that's when the transfer portal starts opening up again, and there's players that are going to be coming and going again. This whole transfer portal thing makes it hard for you to even know who your team is.
Mhm.
So anyway, didn't mean to get make a whole. We did a half a segment just on the spring game here, but it's very cool
Yeah, it was fun.
to see. All right, so what's our first topic for the day?
Alrighty, so after finishing last at the Masters, Tiger Woods looks ahead to the three remaining majors. So it was 1:22 p.m. Sunday afternoon, and there was Tiger Woods in his usual red, launching his final tee at the 2024 Masters onto the lush 18th fairway at Augusta National. He was more than 5 hours too early. The final round leaders weren't even going to tee off for another hour. After shooting an 82, his worst round in his life in a major tournament Saturday, Woods came back Sunday with a 5 over 77 to finish dead last at 16 over par, all alone in 60th place. Woods, who is 48, who barely plays competitively anymore after his 2021 car crash crushed his right leg, said the biggest challenge for him throughout the weekend was the gusting wind that wreaked havoc on the shots throughout the tournament. I think that just the wind and what it was doing out there to the golf shots and the balls and putting and how difficult the course was playing, he said, it doesn't take much to get out of position here. Unfortunately, I got out of position a lot yesterday and a couple times today. But Woods said all is not lost. He said it was a good week. It was a good week all around. I think that coming in here and not playing a full tournament in a very long time, it was a good fight on Thursday and Friday. Unfortunately, yesterday it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to. Today, the way that Tom is playing, I thought I had it in my system. Unfortunately, I didn't produce. Woods said he's planning to play the three remaining men's majors this season, starting with the PGA Championship at Valhalla in May, and then the U.S.
Yeah.
Open at Pinehurst in June. This is a golf course I knew going into, he said, of Augusta National, so I'm going to do my homework going forward at Pinehurst and Valhalla and Troom. But that's kind of the game plan. It's always nice coming back here because I know the golf course, I know how to play. I kind of simulated shots. Granted, it's never quite the same as getting out here and doing it. Same thing. I heard there's some changes at the next couple of sites, so I've got to get up there early and check them out. After his miserable weekend, there was no use looking back, so Tiger Woods did the only thing he knew how to do, and that was to look ahead.
Okay. When I was watching this, I watched bits and pieces of this,
Mm-hmm.
and first, this was his 100th career round at
Mm-hmm.
Augusta. And, Tiger Woods made his name at the Masters. But I'm watching this, and for the big story was, would he make the cut? Like, you make the first 2 days and then people get cut. And the fact that he made the cut was a big story and was a big surprise. But as I'm watching this, my emotions kind of swung. Initially, you watch Tiger, and the back surgeries, the knee surgeries, and then the car crash, which he almost lost his leg, and things, and the fact that he's out there playing at all is amazing, absolutely amazing. But I'm watching this, and I'm like, Tiger should retire. That was going through my head the whole time. It's like, he's not competitive. He should retire. He's never going to win another major again. And that's kind of the way I was taking it for a long time, because physically his body can't do it anymore. And it's because of the massive injuries and the car accident and everything else. And so I'm watching this and I'm feeling bad for Tiger. I'm looking at this, and then you look at some of the numbers. Like I said, it was his 100th round at Augusta. He finished 60th, dead last. His last four, which was the Masters was always his top event. He finished 78, 78, 82, and 77. And 77 was in last place. His last, since 2019, his last 11 majors, he's missed the cut 4 times, had to withdraw twice, and his best finish was tied for 21st. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, it's time for Tiger to give it up. But then, as we're watching it, and he's just kind of battling through, and no one is delusional that Tiger's going to do anything spectacular on the last day. It changed. And it's like, you know what? It's kind of like seeing LeBron out there, or seeing Tom Brady out there, or Serena. Those guys are at a level that no one has ever done. And even though they're playing, and let's say, even though Tiger isn't playing at that level, it's like, man, you should cherish these times, because they're not going to be here much longer.
Right.
LeBron, you look at LeBron and you say, LeBron has 1 to 5 years. So LeBron has a lot in front of him. Serena's done. Tom Brady, we think is done, but we're not always 100% sure. So, but watching Tiger, it's like, no, he can't play like he used to, but he can still get out there and golf. And that's the cool thing about golf. Maybe he doesn't make a lot of the cuts anymore, but it's still like, hey, I remember when I saw Tiger do this, or I saw Jack Nicklaus do this. I could see Tiger maybe finishing this year out, and then going to the senior tour and playing on the senior tour a little bit, so that he's still out there. It's nice to see him and be able to appreciate the greatness that has been Tiger Woods. It's also incredibly sad to see that Tiger Woods is no longer great. He's a great man, but his play on the course isn't at that level. And so my whole point I was getting at is, you understand what I mean by being torn, where one part of you are like, oh man, I kind of want to see him retire.
Yeah.
But it's so good to see him. It's kind of like, think about Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. It's like, I always say, man, I really don't want to see Tyson get beat up by Jake Paul, but I'm going to scream like a little girl if he wins.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same situation with him. Every time when he does something good, it's exciting. And Tiger Woods is good for the game. Without Tiger Woods, the game is a different game. You watch the crowds that follow him. You look at the television ratings when Tiger Woods is on the course. The fact that Tiger Woods made the cut made the television ratings go up even more. So it is very beneficial for golf that Tiger Woods is still out there, still playing, because it gives, kind of like Caitlin Clark, gives other players a spotlight or a stage that they can shine on. So it's good. So I'm just torn. But does that make
Yeah,
sense to you?
it does. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely time for him to retire. I didn't really think that he was going to come back at all after all of that happened with the car crash and him having all the issues with his leg. So, I mean, I guess good for him for going to the Masters and, giving it a shot, but I think it's time for that door to finally close.
See, and I get where you're coming from because it absolutely makes sense what you're saying. And I agree with what you're saying,
Mhm.
but golf is a different game
Mhm.
than every other sport out there. When I started thinking about Tiger Woods retiring and just giving up golf forever, that sounds like that's what you think of with retirement. Tom Brady never playing football again. Mike Tyson never boxing. Serena never playing tennis again. And that's why my opinion changed. Like, no, he shouldn't retire
Mhm.
because golf has something that no other sport has. It has a senior tour.
Mhm.
Tiger's about to turn 50 soon, which puts him, he's allowed to play in the seniors tour. And so he can keep playing. And that's why I went from switching from, man, I kind of want to see him retire, to no, because he can still play when he's 50.
Mhm.
You can't have a seniors NFL. There would be there would,
I think there should be.
oh my God. Think about a seniors NFL.
That'd be
You
great.
know, maybe you could have a seniors NBA, but you can't have a seniors NFL. But golf is one of those sports that he's 49 now. You could literally play another 20 years. And saying he should retire is like saying, hey, we're going to take 20 years of your golf career from you. You can't do that.
Mm.
So that's why I changed my whole opinion. Midway through this whole thing is like, should he retire? I think he should retire. To wait a minute. No, he shouldn't. I think he's done. And I think most of us know this since the car accident. He's done winning majors,
Mhm.
but he's going to still get out there and golf and do those events. And I'm happy that golf has something like that, so you can still see a Tiger Woods, because when LeBron retires, you won't be able to see. There's no games out there you're going to watch Jordan and Kareem and all those guys get out there and play. Golf is the only one that you have it. So, you know,
Maybe we can do like a pickup game with all of them and live stream it or something.
live stream I think that'd be some horrible basketball. That would be some. Oh my God! I think yeah, just all the greats. You got to be a top 30 player to play in this game. It'd be, Kareem. I think Kareem's
He's old.
way like Kareem's like
he's
Kareem could be close to like 80.
yeah, he's
You know,
he's up there.
you couldn't even yeah, you couldn't even it'd be hard to get that game
Mhm.
together. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the College Football Super League. Propose has merit, but significant obstacles remain if restructuring the sport. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.